Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I got this question. It's kind of a long email. So again, I'm going to summarize this here. It's from Florian, and he's from Belgium. Which, by the way, I got to visit Belgium and saw Bruges or Bruges. I don't know if it's Bruges or Bruges. I could never figure that out. But anyway, it's like a fairy tale city. It's pretty cool city. Like I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. Anyway. So Florian basically has this question, and he said, how is life? Is your trip going well? I'm back now, but it was fantastic. He says he's a young software developer from Belgium. He read my book, Soft Skills, and watched my YouTube channel closely, and he discovered my website from Pluralsight courses. So he wants to know about side projects here, and so he basically said that he gave up on his side project. He was working with a colleague, and they were working on this an app around David Allen's GTD philosophy, which is getting things done. It's you can check it out. I'll put a link to the book. Really good book, real good kind of process for managing your work and your life. But that's besides the point. So anyway, he says. He was working on the web app. They had been working on it for like 1.5 years. They had no prototype at the end of that. They spent way too much time on anything. He said he didn't even have a social life, wasted a lot of time, real overkill of meetings. And he said the idea wasn't bad, which I agree. It's probably not a bad idea. So he wanted to know about the approach of a personal side project. So then there's a bunch of questions here. Would you first create a full backlog with all features in it? And thinking things through, what happens if you delete A, those kinds of things, like a delete feature A, perhaps not the agile way, but I want to know what the workload is for MVP, minimal viable product. I'm using Visual Studio Online to organize this. I want to have a bunch of metrics of progress achieved by charts. And he goes on to say, next I wanted to create a full HTML mockup of the application to really show what the application does, all dummy data, and goes on talking about frameworks and all this stuff. And should I write unit tests and thinking about database design and web APIs and build server and using Jenkins. And so here's my advice. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Is basically, yeah, don't do that. You spent 1.5 years trying to create this product and you didn't even have a prototype out. That's the total wrong approach. All of these questions you're asking me, these are not the questions that you need to be asking, not at this point in time. These are the questions that someone working for a multi-million-dollar organization with a team of 80 developers needs to be asking. Those are serious questions for that. But for two guys trying to figure out if an idea is going to work, working on it part-time, don't do all that. Instead, what you need to do is try to create the simplest possible version of the product that you can put out and get it out there as soon as possible. I don't want to keep on hitting on the MVP, most minimum viable product buzzword, but it's a true thing. Like, you need to do that. Don't even worry about how the code is organized. What you want to do is you want to fail fast if you're going to fail. And if you succeed, you want to learn quickly and consider whatever you're writing or creating right now, the first version be a throwaway. That's my best advice. Get your idea out there and get it tested and get feedback as soon as possible. And then you can do things right later. And one thing I've learned as being an entrepreneur is, when I first started my software development career, I was all about doing things right all the time. And what I've learned is that that's fine when you're working with someone else's money, but when you're working with your own money, sometimes you got to do things quick and dirty because it's just not profitable. It doesn't make sense. When you're burning up someone else's money, you can sit back and you can ponder all the intricacies of the architecture and should we use this unit testing framework or that one, and that's fine because someone else is paying you to do it. But when it's your money and it's your time, your attitude kind of changes. It doesn't mean to just like, to throw out all craftsmanship and do a crappy job, but it means that you got to make trade-offs, and the biggest trade-off that you have to make is getting something out there quickly and start to get income from it. So, the best way to test the thing is to ask someone to pay for it. So what I would suggest if you do another side project or if you restart this one is set a deadline. So let's say you start this project now. In 2 months, you have V1 shipping. That is your deadline. You must do that in 2 months. You're not giving yourself any more time than that. In 2 months, you're shipping something and you're going to collect money for that thing. Put it out there. See if people will pay for it. Even if you don't have the full thing built out, if you say what you're going to build and it's a good idea, people will give you money for it. If no one will give you money for it, it's a bad idea. It's not going to work. Don't waste another 1.5 years building something that no one is going to pay for. It doesn't matter, how good your architecture is and how much you plan this out and how much you have your NAT charts and you got your metrics and all this stuff. If no one ever actually buys it and if it never gets built, all of that is going to be totally wasted effort. So don't waste time doing things that are going to be complete throwaway if you never ship. Instead, focus most of your effort on shipping, and then you can add those other things later. Once you start making money, once it's actually viable, then you're not wasting your time. I feel like, if it took you 1.5 years and you never got to a prototype, you probably wasted a whole lot of time worrying about things that are not actually important. It's a good lesson though, and I don't mean to like totally harp on you. You got to learn this lesson. But that's my advice on the situation. Hopefully your next project, you can get it shipped very quickly. And that gives you also, think about it, in 1.5 years, you could have tried out 5 or 6 ideas and hopefully one of them would have worked instead of focusing on building just one and then, you don't even get it done because you give up because, hey, who has the endurance to work on a thing for 1.5 years without actually getting any money for it? So anyway, great question. And if you have a question for me, just email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. I'd love to answer one of your questions in the video format. And if you like these videos, if you like this podcast, subscribe. Talk to you next time.